How's it going, boys? And welcome back to the Odyssey. Um, I have a couple of things for you today. Soda. That's not one of the things. That's for me. But um, I was just watching this video on 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 false accusations, and I figured, well, I could tell my story because I was falsely accused as well. Not of anything, overtly serious, but it's false accusations. So, we're going to talk about it. Also, I think maybe it's therapeutic in a way to talk about something that you just kind of got in your head and you've got nobody to tell. So maybe that's kind of fitting. Um. Anyway, to tell my story, I have to go back to the end of, well, no, the beginning of 2021. I was working at a job at a gas station, and a girl who I rarely worked with. Uh, it was a weird day. It was a snow day, right? So, and I couldn't get my car to start, or it was stuck, or something with the snow, and the car was messing me up from getting to work. And I told them I would just walk, but uh, they insisted on sending a ride for me. And who do they send? They send this 19-year-old girl to come fetch me because she was the one on duty, and she needed me to be there so that she could go home. So, but anyway, so she comes and she gets me, and we got to work, and she left, and somewhere in that time, she saw my phone. Uh, I didn't know that she saw my phone. She didn't say anything to me, but she saw in my phone the way I had her name saved. Her name was Caitlin. I replaced the A and the I with a U and an N. You can do the math yourself and figure out what it said in my phone. And now, naturally, she took offense to this, but once again, she didn't say anything to me. Instead of saying anything to me, or even our manager, she calls corporate, and so the manager has to come and sit me down on a separate occasion, like a month later, after I had totally forgotten about the snow and my car and whatever the hell was happening. And but there was always something with this girl, right? Somebody was always having a problem, or she was always having a problem with somebody. Um, and so my manager comes up to me like a month later, and it's like, "Come over here. I need to talk to you." And uh, I'm like, well, "What about?" And she's like, "Yeah, Caitlin." And I'm like, "Oh, geez, what is it now?" You know, kind of thing. Like something's always popping off with her. So it was nothing new around the workplace. So we sit down. She says about Caitlin, and I'm like, oh, okay, what now? What is it now? And then kind of out of nowhere, just like totally caught me off guard. I was not, even thinking about it or prepared for it. And she goes, "What do you got Caitlin's name saved as your phone? How do you have Caitlin saved in your phone?" Uh, and I'm like, and also we were still wearing masks at the time because they were mandatory at work. So I had a mask on. I can't remember if my manager did it or not, but I had a mask on, and I was just like, shocked by the question. And so I said, it's misspelled. I didn't say what it was spelled like, how I spelled it. I just simply said it was misspelled. And and ever since that day, this was in February of 2021. Um, I ended up quitting in November of 2021. Um, and that whole time from February to November, everybody at work treated me differently. I don't know what else was said, who it was said to, what the context was, what it was about, because I worked on overnight. I worked by myself. You know, during the shift changes, I didn't, do much talking with the other people on the other shifts. But I noticed, like, how everybody was acting. It went from, "Oh, hey, what's up?" to just like, you know, and it made me feel weird. Because number one, I didn't I didn't put that in my phone for her to see it or for anybody else to see it. It was my own personal uh, space of to express myself, and I didn't. It's not like I waved it in her face and said, "Ha ha ha! Look what I have your name as in my phone." It wasn't anything like that. But yet, it caused whatever happened and whatever was said caused this whole thing. Uh, where just people were acting weird around me at work. So like I said, I ended up quitting. But it wasn't because of that. It was because I had another opportunity that was paying more. And that's where my next part of the story comes from. Same year. So November 2021, I had a better opportunity, like I said. So I went ahead and I didn't even get a day off for this, by the way. Straight from my last day at the gas station job, to the new job the day after, and also instead of an overnight shift, this was an afternoon evening shift. So I'm there. I'm starting my new job. First week, okay? First week, I gotta go to HR because apparently I groped somebody. I don't even know where. And apparently I growled at somebody. I don't even know who. My first week on the job, okay? Um, so I'm in the office talking to two different managers, and they're saying, so you know, we uh, got a call from corporate. They called corporate again on me. Two separate people, and two people at the same time. They called corporate, and so naturally, management had to come talk to me, and I guess get my side of the story or whatever the protocol was. And I was just as shocked by this news as they were. And I even remember when we were walking back to the office, they said you said something about something, and I said I'm not here to grab booties. I'm here to grab paychecks. You know, like I just started this job. I'm trying to pay my bills. I'm stressed out. I need this pay increase that this job is offering to kind of combat the cost of my bills at the time. I'm thinking about that. I'm not thinking about groping people. Like really. And so I said that. I said I'm not here to grab booties. It turns out what I was accused of was touching her titty, and I didn't even remember anything like that. Maybe I bumped into her or something, but I didn't like reach my hand out and grab a handful, you know. And these were not small women. These were not small women. They may have been like mid height, 5'3", 5'6", whatever, but they were not small. They were very robust women. Um, so these to grab a handful was no small task. Let me say that. Um, which I didn't, by the way. Um, and they have cameras mounted all over this place. And so, you know, my word was my word, and they seemed to want to believe me, and they let me go and continue working with my accusers. And what happened then? Okay, so yeah, so they looked at the cameras, the camera footage, and they saw what was being referred to, and they came back and said, yeah, we didn't see anything. We see where you might have bumped into somebody. You might, we see where you were picking up a box. Like, we don't, we didn't see you do anything. The camera doesn't lie. Um, and so I was vindicated there. But as for my two accusers, who I now knew who they were, um, because they had to go back and talk to them again. And what they ended up saying was, now the story was, I looked like somebody that they knew, who I did not know. So just I committed the crime of looking like somebody who I don't know and never met, and they and that's what they had against me because I look like somebody. That's what they switched their story to. And also, no consequences. No consequences for falsely accusing me of serious, like, sexual harassment stuff in the workplace that could have gotten me fired and left me with no job instead of a better paying job. And I had to continue working with these people for the next 6 months until I inadvertently quit that job as well, for my own sanity, for my own personal well-being. And that's pretty much the short and skinny of it. Not maybe not short, but that's, and not skinny either. But that's about the story of 2021 and the 2 times by 3 different people in the same year that I was falsely accused of committing some heinous sexual harassment thing